Namaste, my dear friends. Welcome to your practice. This is another practice from my series of slowing down. So just come to child's pose to start with. We'll be holding each pose again for about a minute. So here in child's pose, just come to connect with your breath. So steady and slow exhales. And if you wish, you can bring the palms of the hands together, press them slightly together, walk the elbows away and bring the hands towards your upper back so that you get a little bit of a stretch for the shoulders to prepare yourself for the downward facing dog. So really connect to that link between the body and the breath. Here maybe you feel it more in the back body, in your lungs. And we start from downward facing dog. So again, as I said, we'll be holding for about a minute, so please feel free to just come back to child's pose if you need to. I soften my knees here initially so that the downward facing dog kind of slowly starts to open the body up. And then when I feel that I've got that length in the spine, I start to also lengthen the heels down towards the mat, just gradually with really slow and mindful breathing, switching on your ujjayi if you know that, gently breathing through the throat while keeping the mouth closed. And then slowly start to prepare yourself to bring your right foot to the top of the mat, taking a high lunge by keeping the back heel lifted, lifting the upper body up. Now focus that both of your hips are facing forward. These slower practices are really good to bring more intention, or actually more attention to your alignment and to the integrity in the poses. We tend to lose that when we do a more fast-paced practice. So here, press the front foot down and the back knees as straight as you can, pushing the back heel away. Tailbone is slightly down towards the mat. Nice. Deep, slow breath. Calm face, soft eyes. And again, with transitions, you also take your time. So you slowly and mindfully move the hands down and you step it back to plank pose. All right, we'll be holding plank for a minute as well. But again, if that's hard, just bring the knees down. Keep hugging the belly back towards the spine. If you're keeping the knees up, then really notice that you're pressing all your finger pads down onto the mat, so you're not putting too much weight onto your wrists. The heart moves forward, the heels back. Look forward from your fingers slightly so the back of the neck is long. Tighten your thigh muscles against the thigh bone, and again, tailbone moves towards the heels, so there's length in the lower back, and core is super stable and strong, navel back towards the spine. All right. Let your knees come down. Let the buttocks go back towards the heels to child's pose. So again, a little rest. Again, come really back to deep breaths, softening through the shoulders, through the face, through the jaw. And then take yourself back to downward facing dog. So as I said, a really slow practice, holding the downward facing dog again. So now bringing more attention to your alignment, spreading the fingers. Feel the inner rim of your hand, the thumb side of your palm, pressing down onto the mat. So not all your weight collapses to the little pinky side of the hand. Feel your shoulders separating away from each other on your back. outer side of the armpits moving down towards the mat and inner side moving up. Again, relax your face. Feel your upper back broad. Tighten the navel back towards the spine. Deep breaths. And then again, a mindful transition. The left leg comes forward between the hands, setting your feet up, they hip distance apart, grounding down. And then lifting to high lunge, minding and looking at your hips. So bringing that right hip slightly forward if you need to. Remember that gentle tuck in the tailbone so you feel your lower belly muscles switching on. You can keep the hands on the hips or bring them back towards the hips if you feel it becomes too much for the shoulders. Otherwise, keeping the hands shoulder width apart so that, again, that you can feel that broadness through the shoulders. As the arms lift, the shoulder blades stay down along the back. The bottom half of the shoulder blades even tucking in slightly. Deep, deep breath. Again, just feeling here, sensing. And slow transition. Again, a plank pose for 1 minute. Heart forward, heels back, thighs working, navel back towards the spine, hollowing your waistline slightly. And again, if you need to, please take the knees down. So this is not so much about pushing yourself or accomplishing something, but this is actually about experiencing something. So it's just staying in the body, noticing your own reactions. And again, if you feel that you're striving, then take an easier option. Take a break and come back. All right, we're ready to lower down onto the mat, so either knees down or straight legs. Bring the belly down. Again, take a moment here. So make these pauses between the poses as important as the poses themselves. So feel the shoulders starting to relax. And then coming to strengthen the back muscles in locust pose Shalabhasana. So stretching the hands back, lifting the upper body off the mat. You can keep the feet on the mat or lifting the feet up as well. Now again, integrity in the pose is finding length in your spine. So maybe you even lower down a little bit so you don't stress the back muscles out too much. Keep reaching the balls of the feet back, the heart forward, back of the neck long. Breath is smooth, face is calm. All right, and releasing down. Take your time, but then move to child's pose again as a pose between our neck cycle. Soft shoulders, so hands can stay forward, or you can bring them on either side of the hips if that feels better for the shoulders. Feel your lower back. Sense the breath reaching that area. And then one more time, a downward facing dog. So this time maybe you pay more attention to your feet, having them hip distance apart, and the heels a little bit wider than the toes, thighs working so you're pulling the kneecaps out up and your inner thighs rolling them towards the back of your mat. Calm, collected breath. Stay for one more. And then look towards the top of the mat and start to walk your feet forward. Keep them hip distance apart and then come to forward fold, where you bend your knees so that your belly can come onto the thighs and you really soften your neck and your shoulders. So again, all that holding in the down dog and plank, just release it as much as you can here. Start to feel the soles of the feet. Bring the hands onto the shins. Lift yourself halfway up for an inhale. Fold back to forward fold. Tuck the chin in on your exhale. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift halfway up, lengthen the back, and then keep that length in the spine as you fold back. Knees can bend when you're folding back. Inhale, straighten knees, straighten elbows, reach the spine forward, heart forward, crown of the head forward, and then as you exhale, you fold. All right. From the top of the mat, take your right leg back for warrior one. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart, so that makes it again easier for the hips. And then as you move up, again, maybe you take your hands onto the hips first. So same thing here, the back foot is really grounded, the toes are pointing 45 degrees out. And when you put your hands on the hips, then guide your left hip back and the right hip forward, and then guide the tailbone down and the pubic bone up. Again, hands can stay on the hips, or you can keep the shoulder blades moving down along the back and then lifting your arms up. Right, tucking the lower ribs in, the heart is lifting. Really come into your feet, grounding them down. No gripping with the front toes. Really solid foot down on the mat. All right. Gently release down. So again, to make that transition mindful, bring the right leg to the top of the mat. Hands on the shins, lengthen your torso away from the thighs for your inhale. Come back to forward fold, tuck chin in on the exhale. Do that one more time. Lengthen, fold, and then set yourself up for warrior one on the other side. So this time your left leg moves back, your right leg stays forward, hip distance with the feet. As you lift your torso, take a bend into the front knee while guiding your right hip back and the left hip forward. Right, get that position for your spine so that you don't arch the lower back too much, and you really feel the lower part of your abdominals, the abdominal muscles switching on, so that might need a gentle lift from the pubic bone. Ground the back foot down. It's the little toe side of the foot that is really glued onto the mat, and you lift the inner arch up. Again, front toes are spread. Come to your breath. And then again, slowly bring yourself forward, fingers on the mat, lifting the back heel up and stepping the back leg forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Come all the way up with soft knees, straight back. Bring the arms up, and as you exhale, fold back down. Inhale, lengthen spine, forward, heart forward. Exhale, fold in half. Coming up again with bent knees, straight back, lifting up by pressing the feet down, and then diving back down as you exhale. So a little flow here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold back, forward, fold. All right, and then step your left leg back. Bring the hands on the inside and walk yourself halfway towards your right leg. Bring the hands under the shoulders. Look at your feet. Again, toes gently in, heels out, so the edges of the feet are parallel to the mat. You can stay here with hands under the shoulders or even hands on a block. Or you can walk your hands in line with the big toes. and just keep them on the mat, or taking your first 2 fingers, wrapping them around the big toes, and then lifting your elbows up towards the ceiling, the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So crown of the head down towards the mat. Remember, knees can be bent here. No locking of the knees if they're straight, so you really feel the thigh muscles working. Again, grounding down through the soles of the feet, even balance there as well between the heels and the top of the foot. Okay, that was again 1 minute. So walk the hands back under the shoulders. You're lifting yourself back up, and now pointing your left toes out 90 degrees, bending into that knee, so the knee goes on top of the ankle and the knee moves out towards the little toe side of your foot. So come to warrior 2 now. Again, hands come to shoulder height, and the back foot is again super grounded, the little toe side of the foot pressing down onto the mat, and feel that inner arch lifting up all the way up towards your groin. Again, not too much of an arch in the lower back. Feel the abdominals working. Notice that your shoulders are also right on top of your hips, so you're not leaning too far forward. Come to your breath. If you can, sit a little bit deeper. If not, stay where you are, or even straighten that front knee a little bit if it gets too much. Really calm, collected, steady and stable. All right, release and move over to the other side. So have your right knee bend. Make sure that knee doesn't move in towards the big toe side of the foot. The direction of that knee is out towards the little toe side of the foot. So there's same amount of weight on the front foot and the back foot. So really bring your mind's eye into that back foot for a moment, and then feel it pressing down onto the mat. And then that front knee moves forward and away from the back foot. Right buttock, feel it tuck under, so the sitting bone moves underneath you. Again, keep your focus on really sensing the body. The different sensations, and then how do we react. It really gets interesting when we hold the poses longer, I find. All right, come back to the center. We take one more forward fold from here. So you can come to a version where you interlock the hands behind your back as you fold forward. So again, make sure that that is comfortable. You can come back to the version that we did before. So you squeeze your wrists together, and then let the hands move away from the lower back, crown of the head down towards the mat. Again, bring your mind's eye to the soles of the feet. Find that even balance between the heel and the ball of the foot. You're not leaning too far back. I know it's hard from here for you to tell, but you want to have your buttocks, your sitting bones in line with the heels. And then a tiny micro bend in the knees. So to come out, bring the hands onto the lower back, walk them under the shoulders, and then around your front leg, the right leg, and then step it back to downward facing dog. Okay, holding the downward facing dog, and then coming forward to one more plank hold from here. So push the hands down, feel that space between the shoulder blades. Imagine I'm placing my finger onto that space and you're lifting up against that finger. So I'm really making sure you're not collapsing through the shoulder blades here. Thighs are strong. Don't drop your head. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep breathing smoothly. tailbone towards the heels, navel towards the spine, narrowing the waist. You're doing really well. Remember, you can just place the knees down and just stay like that if you need to. And then we're lowering down again, knees down or straight legs, bringing the belly down onto the mat. And here's your rest again. Hands come like a pillow under your head and turn your head over to one side. Now bring the hands under the shoulders, lift yourself into a gentle cobra, so either keeping it quite low, or if the back feels fine, you can lift a little bit higher, but sense the shoulder blades dropping down along the back. Again, fingers pressing down, finger pads pressing down, and draw your elbows close to the body. Don't let them move out. Tops of the feet are pressing down, your navel center is working. And then as you lower down, switch the navel on to bring yourself to all fours, and then you're back in child's pose. Again, instantly let your elbows bend and soften through the shoulders. And then come to all fours, come back to downward facing dog. Again, checking the alignment points, becoming still. Alright, and there it is. Again, walk yourself to the top of the mat, let yourself hang for a moment. Again, use this time to really soften around the shoulders, maybe even shaking them out a little bit. Lift yourself halfway up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Come up by grounding the feet, gentle bend in the knees. And then exhale, fold back down. Inhale, lifting and lengthening. Exhale, forward fold, tucking chin. Inhale, grounding the feet as you lift up. Look up if that's okay for the neck, and then exhale, come back down. All right, this time, right leg steps back. Hands walk halfway towards the right leg. Coming into one more forward fold. So I'll turn myself around so that you can see me better. And in this version, again, hand position can be the big toe lock like we did, or hands can stay under the shoulders, palms down. If you have your big toes, then again, just remember the shoulder blades are lifting up along the back, so your neck is still super long. Thigh muscles are working, spreading the sitting bones away from each other. Again, connect to your breath. Lift the inner arches up. And then walk the hands back under the shoulders, tiny bend in the knees when you come up. Okay, turn the right toes now out. 90 degrees, come back to the warrior two shape that we did before, and then moving to side angle. So another very classical hip opening and leg strengthening pose. So keep the hand on your knee. Only bring your right hand down onto the mat when you feel that you're not sticking your buttock out. You can still tuck the right buttock under. Keep rotating the lower half of your belly up towards the ceiling, the middle part of your belly up towards the ceiling, and even the rib cage up towards the ceiling. So there's that gentle heart opening here. Not so gentle sometimes. Ground the back leg, your left foot, the outside of the foot down. And then on your next inhale, come back to warrior 2, straighten through the knee, and then turn over to the other side. So left knee, bending now, left foot 90 degrees out. Again, take the version with your elbow on the thigh. Only bring the hand down if you don't lose the integrity in the pose. You can also use a block under the left hand or hold your ankle. So no need to get the fingertips all the way down onto the mat. Right here you feel the right side of the body, so you ground the outer heel down. And then you reach the fingertips away from the heel. Find a comfortable place for your head, so you can totally look down towards the mat, or you can have your chin towards the armpit. And then again, next inhale to warrior 2. Come back to the center, pointing both set of toes forward, and one last forward fold from here. Hand position again, hands can stay under the shoulders, or there's a version where you turn the fingertips away from yourself and you walk the hands towards the back, so between your legs, grounding the hands down. And solid through the soles of the feet. Ground the outer heel and that mound under the big toe. Feel the inner arches lifting up all the way towards the groin. Soft face. Steady long exhales. And then hands come back under the shoulders. Walk yourself back around the front leg, the left leg, and then you step it again back to downward facing dog. And again, deep grounding, calming, stabilizing breaths in downward facing dog. Really taking up presence in your own body to feel these different sensations as we hold poses longer. And then come to a more passive hip opening, so bringing the right knee to the right side of your mat behind your right wrist, so moving into a pigeon pose. You can come and to stay on your elbows as you move forward, or you can bring the forehead down onto the mat. Make sure your right buttock is supported, so if it's not down all the way on the mat, then bring something under the right buttock. Make sure there's no pain in the front knee. If that's the case, then you might need to move out. And again, as we stay here, just let the shoulders soften, let your jaw soften, your forehead and your temples. Deep breaths. All right, to come out of this one, walk yourself back up, but then bring the elbows down onto the mat, interlocking your fingers, or keeping the hands, the forearms parallel to each other, and then you're stepping into a forearm plank. So again, an upper body strengthener, but also working very well for your core. Having that one straight line from the shoulders to the hips to the heels. This time you're pressing the forearms down onto the mat, widening the upper back. Navel back towards the spine, making sure you don't collapse through the lower back. Now bring some steady breath in. Thighs work, heels moving towards the back of the mat. Heart moving forward. And well done. Bring the knees down. Take yourself again into that resting pose with hands under your head. For a moment, just feel the hips dropping. And then interlock the hands behind your back. Come to another version of Shalabhasana. If the interlocked hands doesn't feel good for the shoulders, keep the hands apart but reach them back. Feet can stay on the mat or lift them up. Really balls of the feet, pushing them away. Back of the neck still long, thighs are working. Your feet can be apart or together, just see what feels better for the lower back, so no unnecessary tension in that area. Aim is to strengthen the back muscles here. And then lower down, and again we release it into a child's pose. As soon as the buttocks come onto the heels, maybe this time everyone can bring the hands on either side of your body with the palms up and elbows bent so the shoulders can really drop. So the back body breathes deeply. Your forehead is on the mat, and that's again a force that helps to ground and calm the mind. Fully in your body. So one more. Downward facing dog. So again, just checking your alignment, checking the hands grounded, the feet hip distance, shoulder blades moving away from each other. As you press the hands down, there's a sensation as if you're sliding them forward. From that action, the hips start to lift up. And then the pigeon pose on the left hip side. So left knee comes forward to the left side of the mat, right behind your left wrist. Stay on the elbows or come deeper. You can turn the volume in the pose up by bringing the left heel further up, so left heel comes more parallel to the left knee. Or you can turn the volume down when you keep the heel closer to your groin. Again, feel the hip area. Feel your breath reaching that area. Again, super curious about this relationship between the breath and the body and the mind. So for yourself, find out what happens when you bring more awareness to an area that maybe feels uncomfortable or where there's a bit more tension. With a really open and receptive mind, you explore these sensations. Start to walk yourself back up, and this time lean over towards your right buttock to get the right leg to the front of the mat, and then straighten the legs out. Keep your right leg straight and bring the left heel either towards the groin or bending that knee so that the heel comes towards the outer buttock. If that hurts the knee, then come to the version where the heel comes inside. To fold forward, you can fold forward over your right leg, or you can come more towards the center So please just check this out. What works best? Where can you get into that sweet spot of openness and opening into the hips, but also working with the backside of your body? And again, if you feel anything in the left knee, in that version where the heel is bent to the outer hip, then please come out. Keep that right leg slightly active so the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, and keep lengthening through the spine. Still deep breathing. Push the floor away to come up. Straighten your left leg forward. And then repeat the same thing that you did on the other side. So right heel either towards the groin, the sole of the foot, high up on that left thigh, or bending the knee out. So a different rotation of the hip. And then as you come forward again, either directly over that straight front leg, left leg, or more towards the center. My main concern here is that your right knee is happy with what you're doing. So make sure there's no pain. And then settle. Bring that breath in and keep softening through the areas of your shoulders and your face. Keep gently lengthening through the spine. Directing your breath to areas that maybe feel tense. And then again, you push the floor away to come up, bringing your right leg to the top as well. And then for our final twist, bend both knees. Right leg comes under the left foot steps over. Your left hand comes to the back in line with your spine, and your right elbow comes around the left knee. Integrity in this pose is to feel both sitting bones down on the mat. So if that's not happening, your bottom leg, your right knee can be straight. Take deep breaths into the belly. Feel into the spine and the back body. And then look forward. As you exhale, come out of the pose, take one turn over to the other side before you switch the legs over. So this time your right knee is on top. The sole of the right foot is on the mat as if you're standing on it. And then again, come to sense the sitting bones. It's the right sitting bone that tends to lift up from the mat. So see if you can lengthen that right side down as well. Feel your right shoulder moving towards the back. See that you're not leaning too far back. Your shoulders are right on top of your hips. And again, connect the breath. And then slowly come back to the center again. As you exhale, turn over, one twist to the other side, and then you're ready. to lie down and take your rest in Shavasana, please feel free to stay as long as you have time for. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.